Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe.
let's get right into it.
Episode 34.
Yeah, 34.
We're kind of on our BiWeekly thing now again.
Yeah, we are. It's all right.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not because, interesting enough, I checked the analytics and the last episode was like 3 times our normal listeners.
Yeah, people really liked the last one. I
Yeah.
know my friend listened to it twice, he said, because he really enjoyed it that much. He listened to it one time by himself, so shout out to Jarek, and then he listened to it a second time with his girlfriend.
Sweet.
Yeah, so shout out to them.
Does he listen to it on Apple, or I'm assuming everybody listens to it on
I
Apple?
think Apple, yeah. He's the one, I texted you the screenshot about it. I don't know exactly what he listens to. Maybe Spotify.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I never look at the analytics on really anything but Apple for some reason.
Apple's dope, man. I really like the Apple layout. I do have to say, though, I don't know if they fixed it, but do they still do, you can only use one headline or one thumbnail per episode with Apple? That's the only critique I have with Apple.
I haven't been able to figure it out, but I haven't really gone in and looked. I think there's some way to do chapter album arts. If I don't think so, but
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I had a question for you. Have you ever heard of this pink sauce?
Pink sauce.
Pink sauce. It's been very popular on TikTok over the past couple weeks.
Well, you lost me at TikTok, so
Okay, so basically what it was is it's just this pink, think of pink mustard, it looks like. It's like that consistency. No one could pinpoint the taste of it, but the serving size said 444 servings in one bottle or something, these angel numbers or anything like that. It sold out, her $20 pink sauce, and then she made a 52-minute video explaining that she needs a break and you guys need to stop with all the negativity because it apparently is kind of BS, or people are getting it shipped and it's not being properly shipped, so it's exploding in the packaging, and it's just it's crazy. So
it's funny. People want to be famous or successful, and then once they get it, they get angry about it.
yeah.
What'd you think was going to happen? It sounds like what's that? Mayo chip, or what? It's mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together. That's pink, right? Isn't that shit pink?
Yeah, I would think so. That's what? Yeah.
I don't eat that crap.
I like the
I got a
sriracha
bottle of it in the
refrigerator.
Yeah, and it's pink. That's
enough.
probably it.
And then people were concerned because the sauce keeps changing colors too.
So I know before this we were talking about social media and stuff, and we can actually carry that here if you want. But
yeah,
TikTok's funny, man. I was watching a story because obviously the whole thing with the Chinese government and how I think Rogan just came out and said, do any of you idiots actually read the terms and conditions of TikTok? All of your data goes to China, right? And the government's I think Trump shut it down or tried to shut it down, and then it kind of got lax and it's back. But the funny thing was, I don't know if it was Fox or somebody did a side-by-side comparison of, content that you can get on the U.S. TikTok.
Oh, and the Chinese
and
one.
Content you get on the Chinese TikTok. And it was oh boy.
Yeah, no, I seen that comparison.
Crazy difference.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Microsoft try to buy TikTok, or did they successfully buy it, or is it still Chinese owned?
It's still Chinese owned.
Okay.
I forget exactly what happened. I think when Trump was in office, he was like, you have to divest and basically spin it off and sell it, because if it's owned by China, we're going to ban it, kind of thing, right? And so I think that was kind of late in his thing, and I guess it never went through, because I mean, obviously, Microsoft doesn't own it. I think they were one of the bidders for it, but I don't think it ever happened.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily the story either. I don't know what happened, but I have a couple things about TikTok. I mean, for one, it's a fantastic platform from the, I guess you could say, the buyer standpoint, the consumer standpoint. When you upload a TikTok, you don't necessarily have to have a super huge following. Like the girl I was talking about with the pink sauce, she only had 800 followers, and then within a matter of a couple days, I think it said she had well over 4 million likes. So it just goes to show that your reach is huge, right? I feel like me and you maybe could expand in that realm a little bit more, but like I said, you never know that it has so much content. It's specified for you, just as like the content or the app says. So it's a crazy huge platform. But on the secondary, like, what really information are they gaining from us? Like, I go on TikTok and it's like comedy videos. Like, I guess for like some other people, maybe it's a little bit different. But like for me, I go on there. It's like clothing, comedy. Like, what's China really getting from that data?
I mean, I guess you're viewing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
There's
like,
so much shit I guess they can mine from it. I mean,
yeah, I guess.
Plus,
so.
I guess they're also trying to capitalize on just disrupting society in general, right? Or just adding to the ill will. I mean, that's the theory, right? Is that they're sort of adding to the ill wills of society and societal issues that we're all kind of experiencing, and where their focus is on nationality and quote unquote better things, or they're just kind of letting loose with it's all swimsuit things, and of course they cherry pick all the bad stuff, but I mean it just, I don't know,
it's more, I feel like it's more governed, or more like guidelines in play for the Chinese version of TikTok versus the United States one. But
which is not surprising, but I mean, it's just kind of funny. It's the same company and two different styles. Totally two different platforms.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok's like the killer, I feel like, of other social medias. Like,
I
go on Instagram and
I just read this morning that the CEO of Instagram's getting crushed by celebrities because he came out and basically said their algorithm's changing to basically promote videos now. So if you're doing still images or whatever, you're gonna get downdrafted on the list, and everything that's video is going to get uplifted. So they're basically trying to turn Instagram into TikTok,
and that's not what Instagram is, though.
Right? And so I think even like Kylie Jenner was like, dude, here's my 2 billion likes on this freaking picture of me, and whatever, and he goes, she goes, I just want to put up a picture. I don't want to be TikTok.
Well, they introduced those reels, and the reels are the things that we were talking about earlier, where that's the thing that's paying creators to post. So they're basically doing a YouTube where it's monetization based on your videos that you upload.
Okay.
So that's how people are getting paid, and I feel like they're trying to promote that more and more. It's almost like a pay to, think of like the NFT stuff. Remember, like the pay to earn stuff? It's kind of like that, where the more that you upload, they're kind of enforcing that. So I don't know. I mean, I think they should have went about it a different way. Maybe make a separate app that was like kind of like how like Facebook is to Instagram, or Instagram is to Facebook. Maybe make like a secondary platform.
Yeah, that's what confuses me. It's like I'm listening to this about how Instagram wants to stay with pictures, and I'm like, well, what the hell's the difference between Instagram and Facebook at that point?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same. I mean, they're owned by the same company. It's the same freaking thing, right?
I mean, I remember when
I'm like, what did I miss?
You remember when Snapchat was coming up? Snapchat had the stories, and then every single company implemented stories. Instagram stories, Facebook stories, Twitter even had stories until they got rid of it, and then they implemented the spaces. That's like the new thing for them. So it's just it's like a cat and mouse game, I feel like, with the social media companies, I guess is the best way to describe it. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe I was talking to a long-term, or what do you call that? A long-time friend, I guess you could say, from a few years back, and he actually became successful from posting different types of memes and stuff. So maybe we'll get him on. No promises, but he definitely has an interesting take on everything that comes along with the backside of social media.
Yeah, so I guess he was bringing up the possibility of buying accounts or buying likes.
Yeah, he was saying a few things. I mean, I don't want to speak on anything I don't know about, but he was basically saying that you could it's like trading cards, or buying. You could trade accounts with other people. Like he said, in order to get one account, he sold or traded a Snapchat account. So it's just a matter of exchanging stuff,
sure,
right?
Why not, right?
And he could get monetization from it, because while you might be following this account, it could have switched ownership 4 or 5 times, and you would have never noticed. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, it never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man. But what else happened in the past week? Did you want to tell your fun story?
Which one? The one me falling up the steps as I'm walking up, and cutting my thumb like 5 minutes before this podcast.
No, the other one. The other one involving danger. Well, that's going to be the headline for this podcast. It has to be.
I know it does, but So, all right, let me see how I can preface this besides just saying I shot my son, right?
Well, yeah, right.
Because on the surface, I guess that sounds pretty bad, and I don't want this to be legally held against me. But yeah, so we a group of us went to the gun range to just shoot some pistols, right? Some fun Americana, right?
Yeah.
We can debate that all day long, but yeah, we just went to the gun range, and I guess I should probably frame this whole thing. So anyway, Noah ended up taking a piece of shrapnel from one of the shots into his leg. It was just a little piece of metal, but he was bleeding, and it was kind of interesting to say the least. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
It was just strange because of like the circumstance, like out of
it
like
was a fluke. I mean, so let me frame this, right? So we're basically had these little pistol bays, right? And it's just, wooden table. And this particular one had a string that was kind of your firing line, and everybody was proper safety. We were all standing behind the line, and, everything was clear. The only difference for me is typically I'm shooting paper targets, right? And we happened to just pull up and they had all the metal targets. So I don't typically shoot metal targets.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fine. Certainly saves you money on the paper targets. But I guess I just got up and I was just, it was my turn. I got up there to shoot a couple rounds, was firing off a couple, hitting the targets. And the next thing I know, Noah's like, looking at his leg, and he goes, I think at first he said, "Oh, I got hit by a stone or something." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It was a stone, and then it was the bullet casing or something.
Yeah, the ejection of the thing. And I'm like, okay, wow, I've never seen that happen, but okay. Yeah. So then we, kind of just took pause and went over and sat down. And then the next thing I know,
he was kind of bleeding a lot, though.
It was. And he was like, I said to him, I said, "You got to press down on that, like to kind of stop the blood flow." And it wasn't super bad, but I mean, it was, and he wouldn't let me do it. And I'm like, "What, dude, you got to, put some pressure on it." And as it turns out, the reason why he wanted me to put pressure on it is because there was a flake of metal in his leg.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, oh my God. So I said, "You got to get that out." And he was like freaking out that he didn't want me to touch it. And then he eventually just pulled it out.
Yeah.
We just, put some antiseptic and put a Band-Aid on, and everything's fine. Right. But
because we kind of I guess I don't know if you explained it, but the reason we kind of concurred what happened was that
he was standing on a slight angle, and I was standing on a slight angle while shooting, because there were 3 stations, and I didn't even really give it much pause. And again, this is one of the reasons why safety is paramount, right? Yeah. I wasn't really thinking too much about it, so I actually took on, I guess, a couple of the metal targets at an angle.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that. It wasn't an
extreme angle, but quite frankly, it was a slight angle. And I can only assume that when I hit one of the metal targets, obviously the result is going to be that bullet's going to fragment. And one of those fragments just kind of flew off and hit him in the leg. And I was like, damn. I mean, it was just one of those. It was like a freak accident. A freaky thing, right? I mean, it wasn't like we were doing anything wrong or stupid or whatever. It was just, I was like, holy shit.
Keep in mind,
it just gives you food for thought that, you gotta you got to be damn careful, right? I mean, besides the obvious, right? You don't even think about some of these things. And again, normally with paper targets, you would never have this issue because it would just pass through into the dirt bank, and that's pretty much the end of it, right? This is just the metal targets. And I think at the time I was firing the Ruger 57, which is kind of a interesting pistol round that's kind of higher velocity and stuff like that. So that probably didn't help matters, from throwing off shrapnel. But I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, it was weird. I mean, how about gun owners though, right? When you're at the gun range, like, how about them fucking people? Like, when we were towards the end of the day, we wanted to shoot.
Oh, I don't even know if I want to get into that. So, it's an interesting dynamic, and I mean, obviously, that shit's all clicky, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of have mixed feelings about it, right? Anytime anybody doesn't feel comfortable about safety, I'm never going to give that person grief, right?
Fair.
If there's some reason why that guy didn't feel safe because of something I was doing and he came over to say, hey, I'm like, okay, I got it. Yeah. There's people downrange. We were just walking up and setting up, and I did have my hands on my firearm.
No, but I don't think that was the concern, right? Like, obviously,
so
if he has the concern, but it's just the fact of the repetition of how many times that he said it, leading to the point where it was like, he also can't, like, it was like the third or the fourth time he came over, he was like, hey, if you guys just want, just go down to the...
they're trying to kick us out.
They were just like, go to the other range. I was like, bro, like, what? Like, you told
initially
us the
he
first
came
3
over
times.
and he was like, yeah, there's guys down range. And I'm like, okay. And I understand, right? So when you have people down range, typically when you're on the firing thing, right, you don't have your hands on your firearm. Mm-hmm. And we were walking up and setting up, and I did have my hands on my rifle because I was putting the optic on.
Okay, yeah.
Right. It wasn't
right.
loaded. There was no magazines anywhere near it, right? But I did have my hands on it. So I'm like, look, anytime someone has a concern about safety and they bring it up, I'm like, I'm never going to get pissed about that, right? And quite frankly, I guess looking at it from their perspective, they could say I was in the wrong, right? Because I did have my hands on my firearm, right? So I was like, okay. And if it was that, it would have been fine because, basically we're just carrying shit up from the car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even have it. At that point, I haven't even come close to hanging a target, right? So it was it was pretty clear, I thought, that we weren't even remotely thinking about firing weapons, right?
Yeah, and then the third time around, Joe even like started walking out like he was the person on the range to go hang the targets. But then I feel like he kept saying stuff like even after you were kind of like walking down.
Yeah, he kept on me a couple of times, and I was like, okay, you said it the first time, like I got it, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't have a firearm in my hand.
You were on the range.
No one did, and I'm like, what the? And he kept harping on it, and I'm like, what the hell am I missing here? It was the second and the third time that I got a little weirded out. And then when the dude who was downrange came back and flipped the signs, it wasn't him. It was like a couple of his buddies came over, and they're like, yeah, we got a tournament or a tournament going on here. Can you guys kind of get the hell out of here? And I was just like, what? Yeah. It was kind of weird. And I'm like, I know people, I'm like that too. That's part of the reason why we went down to the pistol range, right? Because we just didn't want to be hassled by others and have to deal with looking over our shoulders. So I get it. But I was just like, man, it was just kind of, it just seemed dickish to me. And
no, it was definitely strange. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he just got like a weird feeling. I don't know. I don't know why. So I mean, I don't want to, I'm trying to think how to say, I mean, you do get guys who are very intense and very serious about their firearms, and okay, I mean, here I am telling a story about how friggin' Noah took shrapnel, and and I believe me, we were serious about that whole thing, but I mean, it was just, I don't know. I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, it just kind of went over the top because I was at the point where the guy's like, okay, we got a tournament going. I'm like, okay. I said, you guys were all standing over. There's like an area called the multi-purpose area where you basically can shoot whatever the hell you want, and they were all over there. Yeah. So that's the reason why we didn't go there initially, right? We were trying to get out of the way in the first place, and then I was like, all of a sudden they're all coming over, going, "We got a tournament going on here. Can you move over there?" And I'm like, "You guys were just there. That's why we didn't go there." Right? I mean, I'm like, all things considered, though, it was a lot of fun because for me, that I've only shot shotguns and I've shot an AR one time before pistols, but pistols are like a whole different ballgame. I had a really good time. That was actually a lot of fun. It was funny though because my girlfriend, she's like anti-gun, like anti-everything like that. So when I got back, she was like, "I can't believe you went to go do that." And I'm like, "Man, shut up!" It wasn't nothing bad. We're just it's almost like I mean, crucify me for saying this. It's almost like a sport, like you're just doing something to do, right? Yeah. Like instead of shooting an arrow, you're shooting a gun.
Some guys will jump on zip lines. Some will, run cars.
Sure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It might be, right?
I mean, and not to toot my own horn, but if someone broke into my house, you're getting shot in the head. The accuracy was flawless. Right?
Yeah, it was so funny. We were talking about that because I was like, oh man, this is going to go to this dude's head right away. I mean, he's like, oh, look at this, man. All my COD skills are carrying over. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Hey, yeah, you were doing pretty good. I can't,
appreciate it. I had to get my roses somehow. I mean, John was like, "Yeah, you're doing all right. I mean, I was hitting everything, right?
It was, you're pretty stellar. Beginner's luck, I guess.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, but that was weird, and it totally threw me off my game. So by the time we got over to the multi-purpose pit, I had my AR pistol, and we were shooting that, and it was just, I hung them. We hung the. This is why I know I was off my game, right? So we hung the target, came back, started a fire, and it wouldn't cycle the bolt, right? And I think it was because that gun had been sitting forever, and it probably just needed to be lubricated. But I was just like, at that point, I was just like, fuck it.
We didn't grab the
let's
target.
just, we shot maybe 6 rounds, and I was like, fuck it, I'm leaving. And I left the target up.
Yeah.
I never do that. I
No.
always clean up.
I was
after
thinking
myself.
about that. I was like,
And when I didn't even think about it until I got home, and I was like, man, I was on tilt, right? Because I left the target there, and I never do that.
yeah, I wonder what we were shooting accurately, because like you said, it was no more than maybe 10 rounds that we shot divided between the group.
I was just agitated at that point,
Yeah.
like for all the wrong reasons. And that was the other thing, because like I went back, right? We all started walking up, and I forgot something, and I started walking back to the car. And these 2 other dudes, who I guess were part of that group, pull up in their truck and go, "Yeah, man, is everything okay?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What is the?" I'm like, I was like thinking to myself, "Am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, what in the hell is going on here?" Like, I mean, I don't know if they thought I was going to start trouble. I don't. It was just a weird interaction.
Yeah, maybe we
And
missed
you
a
get that.
sign or something. Who knows?
Look, you get that sometimes with
Gun people?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can tell you all kinds of stories, and every once in a while I think. And look, I'm not a hardcore shooter, right? And I'm not someone who's been professionally trained, and I'm not somebody who goes out on a weekly basis. Right? It's plinking, right? It's just I go out and have some fun and
That's about
trying at least just not to be a complete and total idiot. So I mean, I'm sure it comes across, and I'm kind of a hack, right? I mean, I mean, I'm sure my mannerisms and sometimes the way I'm shooting just aren't up to pro standards, and so people pass judgment, and it's like, fuck, man.
That whole conversation was just kind of. The exchange, rather, not even conversation, was just kind of off-putting, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So, I mean, now you know why I don't like going on crowded days. I don't like, I just want to go up and do my thing and have some fun.
Yeah, that's why the pistol range was
and
cool.
if I'm not shouldering it quite right, or something, just, I don't want to deal with it. So,
hey, man, it's all good.
But it was fun otherwise, right?
Yeah, it was good time. I definitely want to go back. I just need to maybe get my own. I think that's the next step. I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The couple of the smaller ones, though, they did have, like you said, it's harder to control, I guess, just due to the size, like the pistols.
Oh, you're talking about the subcompacts, right? So basically what Dave's talking about is, right, if you've seen a gun, right? I mean, you typically see the ones that police officers carry or the Army, right? They're full framed, they're big pistols, right? And obviously for concealed carry and stuff like that, they have smaller versions that'll still have bigger caliber bullets. And as you kind of get a smaller frame
With a bigger bullet.
with a larger bullet size, it becomes a little unruly or a little more challenging to control. And I forget what you were firing. Was it the...
It was the...
it was the 380, which isn't really a big round, but it was...
in the smaller gun.
Yeah, that's a really, really small gun for... So it's, if you're not used to it, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it definitely packed a punch. Because the other ones were, fine. Like, the recoil wasn't a problem. It was just like that. I was like, holy shit, this is kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
A couple things. I guess we should have transitioned to this earlier, but I'll bring it up now. One of my favorite artists, Joey Badass, sold 22,000 copies. I wanted to touch base about this because I feel like it's another one of those things where the numbers from social media are kind of skewed, and so are the numbers for selling projects nowadays. Because there was a point in time where the only way you could get like a CD or anything or get someone's music was going to the store, right? Like. Yep. You would have to, I don't know, was there like lines to get people's music, or was it like just like if Michael Jackson dropped, are you waiting in line?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm trying to think back, right? So, yeah, I mean, you always had to go to the local record store, right? And I think the only time that I seriously waited for an album was the release of Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I remember going down to South Street and Tower Records, which at the time was like the 800-pound gorilla in the business. And I remember a midnight thing, kind of just going down there and waiting, but it wasn't,
Yeah. Well, anyhow, so parlaying that, a couple years back there was a huge like everyone was paying attention to first week sales. I mean, even still to this day, people do it. But before, first week sales were highlighted, and you could package together deals so people could put together T-shirt sales and record sales to mix in together. So then that's like your total sales. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore. But Joey Badass, he was a titan in the game for a long, long time, and a lot of people were giving him grief online for only selling 22,000 units first week.
So you're killing me with all this, these names that I've never even heard of and calling them titans of the music, right? What was it last week? Little Uzi or some shit?
Oh my God, this guy didn't know.
I don't even know who the hell you're talking about. And you're like, oh, he's up there with Drake. I'm like, come on.
Lil Uzi's up there.
And then you're talking about some
DaBaby.
Badass Louie or what?
Joey Badass.
Joey Badass, and I'm like, who in the hell is this?
Joey Badass. I love his music.
Don't call this guy legendary.
He's a legend. What?
Shit.
Dude, come on. Everyone, bro, the people that know are going to call Badass a legend, bro. He came into the game super young, maybe when he was 17 years old.
Well, you can't sell 20,000 albums in your first week and be legendary. But go ahead.
This was past his prime, man. And I just think that we shouldn't be harping over first week sales anymore as much as they once were, because before the times are completely different.
It's always going to be that way.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when you release a podcast, right? You're
harping on that first week.
Your window is always going to be that first week, and then it falls off a cliff. Same thing with movies, right? I mean,
it's with everything, right? But I feel like
now music is probably one of the realms where there is the possibility of having post first week uptick.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Because
you could have a viral TikTok sound, and it goes crazy.
Yeah. You won't get that with movies. You won't get that with a lot of other stuff, but music you can.
Music you most definitely can. I mean, I think the problem, like I said, it's just like raw streams now versus opposed to the package deals and the bundle deals. And then also like Logic, who also toured with Badass, was my first concert I've ever seen. He kind of came off of his prime, and I don't think he sold too many units either the first week, but still, you're talking about legendary artists. I feel like you shouldn't discredit their whole catalog just based off of like one album release. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like a whole, it's kind of like the thing with Will Smith, right?
I'm still scratching my head over your use of the word legendary. It's really funny that term has completely morphed, and I know it's all because of video games.
Yeah.
Because I remember, back in the day, right? Warcraft is a great example, right? They had these like legendary weapons, and literally in the game there was like one weapon, and you had to go through, some serious shit to get it.
Okay.
And
so you think legendary doesn't hold merit?
Over time, well, this is what happened, right? So over time, every expansion that came after that, they would start adding a few more additional legendaries to the point where I think this last one that they did, like every freaking weapon was legendary.
Okay.
And I just laugh because it's the same thing. Over the course of 15 years or whatever it was, the term went from being super, super ultra exclusive to being, everybody and their mother had one.
Okay. So let me explain why I think this individual is legendary. And I won't even use him for an example, but actually I will. So he created, or basically mainstreamed, a whole genre of like boom bap rap in a time where it wasn't as popular.
What the hell is that?
Oh my God, bro. You just have to listen to his music. It's like hard for me to explain. I can't really explain this. I would have to get his metrics up, bro. He literally, like, from 17 to now, he has maintained relevancy. I mean, to even, I guess, to back that up by material stuff, he has what's that car? Porsche 911 GT3 RS, the like over $1 million car. So yeah,
I don't think it's $1 million, but you're talking about a Carrera GT.
I don't know. It's a hefty price tag because it's like a rare color. It's like green or something, and he like made a whole song about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, wow.
I mean,
kudos to him, man. He's obviously doing it better than we are. So
yeah, I don't know, but that's just like putting like
that's
monetary
in
value.
my book if you drive around in a Porsche GT3 RS.
Yeah, but yeah, he's a dope artist. But yeah, I don't know. I just think people discrediting a whole person's career based off of their last performance is kind of. I mean, people didn't do that for Michael Jordan.
Well, now you know why so many of those freaking guys have anxiety and depression and all this shit. That's a tough business, man.
Yeah, I would imagine.
One day you're on top, and the next day you're struggling to kind of get back to the top and figure out what the hell went wrong. I mean, it's got to be just brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that could be with anything. I feel like, I mean, yeah, I don't want to sound any type of way, but like I feel like it's very important to do what you love, and these guys are obviously doing what they love. You know what I mean?
Goddamn, yeah.
So there's two sides to that equation. Like you said, like having someone judge you all the time, but at the end of the day, if you're able to afford a Porsche like of that caliber and you're making music, like you know, you have to be doing something right. You know what I mean? Like it's not an easy business to get into.
Yeah, I mean, and don't take my ignorance as like, you know, downplaying it. I mean, just because I don't know the guy doesn't mean that he doesn't have skills, right? So I mean, mad props to him for.
Yeah, if he came out with a sneaker like Kanye did, you'd be like, holy shit, dude. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I just I think I got a set of the Yeezy yellow slides coming today.
Oh,
I thought I already had them, but I thought these were the glow in the dark ones, and I'm not sure they are. And if they're not, I'm gonna be pretty pissed actually.
Yeah, I don't have the best luck with shoes anymore, man. I kind of gave up. I don't know. Like I feel like till they release the V2s, I'm not. Like I said this like 1,000 times.
And I see that Adidas has been going batshit crazy with their mashups with all these Italian fashion houses. I mean, they're doing Balenciaga, which I had never heard of until, and all of a sudden it's showing up all over the place. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know who these guys are.
Yeah,
I know they're doing Gucci and shit, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, holy shit, they're selling like, you know, the Run DMC Gucci Adidas hat, the traditional like bucket cap hat for like $800.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Did you see? So the Gap hoodie that you bought, the Yeezy one?
Oh, I just bought something else.
Yeah, they just restocked everything. It's like in stores now.
Yeah, well, I did order, you know, a lot of it's just my own curiosity, but I know they just had a window that opened up, and I ordered like a long sleeve, the Dove. He's got the Dove on the back of it. It was like $140, and I'm like kicking I didn't want to do it, but because of this fucking podcast, I'm like, you know, it was almost like research, and I want to see what's going on here.
Yeah. Whatever like helps you justify.
I've seen hoodies all over the place, and I'm like looking at these hoodies, and everybody's selling these hoodies for like $150, and I'm thinking we're doing something wrong.
I think we're doing something right.
That's true.
We are producing quality for affordability.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's
funny
because
I always scratch my head and I go, man, these SOBs are making some serious coin.
Because if you know the back end,
we're, you know, at the end of the day, right, we're still buying those hoodies from somebody, right? So there's still somebody two-stepping on top of, you know, all the money that's going on. And, you know, we still do pretty decent. And these guys are selling I'm looking at it, I'm like, sons of bitches, that's like the freaking same thing we're selling. Yeah. And it's like $150, and Adidas is making them for pennies on the dollar.
Oh my god!
So you're like,
well, think about the
these
quantity.
Guys are...
Like there's like a what do you call that? A sales break every so often. So like you'll buy like 100, there's a sales break. 1,000 sales break. Like you said, they're purchasing tens of thousands.
They're not even purchasing them from some. They're manufacturing themselves.
Right?
They're
manufacturing
cutting all of that all that middleman out. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah. So think about how much just like on like a blank T-shirt, right?
Like we don't want to tell people that we pay like 40 cents for a T-shirt and sell for $17.
Oh my god,
that's
that was
not
the case,
what we pay, by the way.
If that was the case,
not even close,
making a killing.
I know,
but that's probably what their margins are.
They're probably paying.
Yeah, they're making probably under $1. I would put money that they're making it for under $1
for a T-shirt for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. So just think about that the next time you're in Dick's or somewhere.
Well, that's what happens when they have to, spend $15 million to sponsor, whoever it is, Harden or some dumbass.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't call him a dumbass anymore. He plays for the Sixers.
Yeah, he's in I think a 2-year contract or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out. I mean, you got to give the guy some props, right? He literally canceled a $47 million. He could have gotten $47 million guaranteed, right? He just had
he just wanted to take a pay cut,
and he took pay cut down to 30 something. I mean, it's
God forbid,
but still, dude. I mean, okay, anybody who leaves $14 million on the table, regardless of what they're worth, I mean, there's something to be said for that.
I mean, when I hear that, when I'm hearing that,
I got to give the guy props for at least stepping up and saying, "Look, use the money for helping the team."
When you say he's getting a pay cut, I think he's getting that just behind the scenes.
It's possible, but
I think I think Ruben or someone's just wire transferring.
Sure, you never know what the hell goes on behind the scenes, but I mean, on the surface, right? He dropped. I guess it was a 1-year deal, so he would have gotten 47. Now he's getting 60 something over 2 years guaranteed. So who knows?
It balances out probably. But here's the thing. I don't know if we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Sixers' new facility. I know I texted you about it.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
But I don't think it was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, for the people who are interested in Philly fans and everything, we're on the sports topic. Sixers just purchased or planning to renovate something in Center City, Philadelphia, to make it more of a community-centric sports team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're talking about the gallery, right? Or
yeah,
whatever the hell it's called now.
Something like that. So basically, they're spending crazy amounts of money to buy this in Center City, to have people like their goal and their statement was so people could, after a game, go to a bar and spend money locally
I
or
don't
whatever.
know if that, I mean, you never know what's going to happen there because, I mean, obviously they're talking like 2030 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, that facility down in South Philly already has, you know, kind of that live event stream that I'm guessing the Sixers aren't capturing dollars from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, okay, is this a ploy for them to renegotiate their lease and their kickbacks and stuff, or are they really talking about, because at the end of the day, right, there's a lot of money in owning the stadium in addition to the team and all of the concessions and everything that go around it. And that place that they're talking about, for those that aren't familiar with Philly, it's kind of an inner city, multi-block retail and transportation kind of hub that's been around for eons, and it has gone through several cycles of redevelopment. It used to be kind of like an indoor mall, and then it was a fashion place for a while.
Fashion district, right?
Yeah, and I don't even know what the hell it is now. I mean, I think
it's still a fashion district.
Yeah.
I think it's still the mall. We were just in there last year when we went down to Chinatown.
Yeah, but I mean, it has notoriously struggled for survival over countless decades, really.
Yeah, it was empty when we went in there.
So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that's the site, because it's a very large property that could obviously handle redevelopment in a stadium.
I mean, everything that I read, well, not everything, but probably 6 out of the 10 comments were, they want to do this in Philadelphia? Like, given everything that's, like,
going
it's
on
like,
in downtown
yeah, it's like
Philadelphia, right?
number 5 on the most, like, homicide
most
murders.
places are looking to go out to the burbs, or at least kind of distance themselves from this shit. That's why South Philly's actually kind of nice, because at least it's kind of like its own island.
And like you said, though, it's 10 years down the road, so we never know.
Yeah,
it could be a thing like Brooklyn, right, with that happened over the past couple of years.
Republicans get back in charge and shit gets back to normal,
What time are we at?
Yeah, gotta throw that to you.
But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see that come to fruition, man. For sure.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I could see it happening. I mean, those sports teams are all about trying to maximize the dollar, right? And that's part of it.
And I saw another thing regarding Philadelphia, where is the Olympics or something coming here?
World Cup.
World Cup, right. And that's supposed to be like a huge deal, I hear.
I forget what that is, 2032. It's way out. But I mean, I think what that was is it's being hosted by the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. And they have, like, I don't know what it was, 17 or 18 cities across the 3 countries that are going to host the World Cup games, and it's a big thing, right? And Philly was chosen as one of those. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I know football fans are absolutely insane. So, I mean,
I think Lincoln Field was the choice for that. They've hosted a bunch of big games, so it didn't surprise me. But
I would definitely go to support, but I don't know how much. I mean, tickets are probably going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the 98 one when that was here. They didn't do it in Philly. They did it up at the Meadowlands at that time.
Where's that at?
Jersey, New York.
Okay. Fire. Dope.
Yeah, that's it. The other thing is I was traveling. I was traveling last week in North Jersey, and then I went down to DC, and it was kind of interesting. I was up in New Jersey, and they have this. They've got this mega mall. It's called what the hell is it called? American Dream.
Oh wait, the one with the indoor
ski thing, right? And it was really kind of weird. I don't know if that place is. I think that place has been open for a long time. And
the ski thing just got recently opened, maybe past 2 years.
Yeah, someone said that it caught on fire and it was kind of closed. Yeah, I guess it opened and then so there was a fire and it closed for like 6 months.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm bringing it up is we were having lunch with a customer there at this. forget the name, but it was kind of an Italian restaurant, and it was absolutely fabulous, actually. So if anybody is familiar with the location, there's really only one big Italian restaurant, and it was really, really, really good.
Cool.
But I'm walking through there, and if they have 50% occupancy, I'd be amazed.
Oh, really? Well, remember the conversation we talked about with Black Friday back in November?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, because I don't know what it is. It's just that all my experiences with malls lately are like they're ghost towns, and or there's people there, but they're only at like 3 stores. And this was this was really weird. I mean, it was midday, right? So I mean, it was, I forget what the hell it was. It was like a Tuesday or something like that. So I mean, expectations should be set. Right. But I'm there, and I'm like. Literally 50% of the stores are not even, they're just boarded up. Yeah. There's a lot of coming soon. So again, I'm not sure where they were in the development process and rolling it out, so I could just be ahead of the game. But it is a big-ass facility.
I don't think that you're necessarily too far off. I mean, this is going to be a very niche thing for Western Pennsylvania people only, but think of like the Exton Mall.
Eastern PA. Or Eastern.
Oh. Okay, Eastern PA.
Western's Pittsburgh.
Western, sorry, got you. Eastern PA, like the Exton Mall. The Exton Mall was, like, when I was growing up, like, huge. Like, it was humongous, which is a fairly small mall considered, like, King of Prussia's.
Yeah, very small.
15 minutes down the road. But now it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
It's a ghost town. So that's that. And then the last thing before we wrap up real quick, because I got to go here soon. I guess we're turning this ghost hunt into reality.
Oh, in December, yeah.
Yeah,
I think she's all over that. So
yeah, we got this text, a family text from Tracy, who's my aunt, about this ghost hunt that we're supposed to be going on.
Yeah, she's all about ghost hunting with her friend, and they've been talking about doing this ghost hunt. And of course, I always chime in because I'm a non-believer, and I was just kind of laughing and said, I want to go, and I said, we'll set up a podcast and just do a broadcast from there. But yeah, she's dead serious on it.
Yeah,
and
she's like, no joking around.
Like December 17th, I think, is our target date for that. So
that'll be interesting.
It will be fun. I mean, it's funny. My wife's freaking out, thinking we're going to bring home bad mojo and stuff like that. I'm like, come on, really? So who knows? That's something to look forward to. That'll be kind of a live broadcast and stuff. We'll have to have video by then. I keep looking at video, by the way.
Yeah, how's that coming along?
Well,
what's like? I don't even know. Like, I feel like we're lacking because if we have video, that'd be good.
So there's a solution that I wanted to get that was like $300 that you basically used your phones as the cameras, and it actually allowed you to do like a multi-camera shoot and sort of stitch it all together on the fly. And then it's mainly designed to broadcast live, right out to YouTube Live or Facebook Live. The really stupid thing about it is you can't record locally. So I couldn't like, we couldn't shoot the thing unless we were going out live. And I'm like, why? It's dumb.
Yeah, that is kind of dumb.
So I've been looking at other things. And of course, as soon as you get into the ones that actually can record offline and, do editing and stuff like that, man, they're expensive.
Well, yeah, cameras are not cheap.
Not the cameras. I mean, I was just kind of looking just the box, like this, thing that we're using here, right? You spend $500, $600, $800, $9,000. If you get in a broadcast with 4K, they're like, $3,000 or $4,000 for these.
Yeah, I wonder if we could still do my idea with the Zoom.
We could.
I would like to try it to see how it would sync up. I mean, it could just be something we test off air. We don't have to public
we could do that.
Because my whole thing was we use the 2 mics, feed it to.
Well, I think we can still
feed it to Zoom, right? And then just have like my camera. Well, we just mute the camera on the phones. And then just
overlay the audio. You'll have to figure it out, but I think it's something we need to do. That's kind of the next step for us is to start doing video. Not that anybody wants to see my mug, but
people like to see anything, man. We got to put it on TikTok at over 4 million likes and make it a career.
We'll have the snake in the background and have him be our mascot, and people will be like, "Oh, check it out. That's cool."
All right, man.
All right, cool. Peace out, everyone. Thanks, and we'll catch you on the next one, which hopefully will be in the next week or two.
Yep.
Later.
Peace.